Hi everyone, thanks for coming for our first talk of the afternoon. And it will be a great talk. I'm so happy to have Monica as my next, as my guest for the first talk of the afternoon. And we will talk about Simplemente Studio.
Thank you, Florian. It's so nice to be here. Hello, everyone.
So it will be a really interesting talk because you have one of the most, if not the most, important studio in Mexico, and we will talk about it. But for examples, but also what is interesting is that we will not start straight with the studio. You will explain sort of your journeys and experimentation with virtual production, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Hello, everyone. And I don't know if you ever been to Mexico. Has anyone here been to Mexico? Okay,
Quite a
great.
few.
Who likes tacos? Okay, so well, I hope you like this presentation as much as you like tacos.
I'm sure they will. So let's start. So
Okay, so that was me, and you can, if you want to go back, they can.
oh yeah, if you
get
want
there.
to
If you
scan
want,
the QR.
this is me. This is me on LinkedIn. If you ever wanna send me a message, always there
We'll put it at the end as well, so they can also have a look.
as well. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, here we go. So yeah, Monica, actually, I give you the clicker, so you're in charge of
Great.
the presentation.
Thank
It will
you.
be easier.
So
If you
I'm
point towards-
Monica, and I am the founder, co-founder, and CEO of Simplemente in Mexico City, and we are passionate about technology. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of why we decided to build a virtual production stage in Mexico City. Ah, so this is a little bit what I'm going to talk today. Um, why we decided to build the stage, and very mildly talk about the components, because I'm sure you all have like heard about it during other presentations. So just be open for questions. And so why did we decide to build a stage in Mexico City? Well, Simplemente is a company that is always been wanting to know more about technology and what in technology could be interesting for our customers to make production better. And our history goes back to like the Canon XL1 camera and Final Cut Pro beta, and drones and cameras like the Ozo camera, and everything that is always moving the technology is going to be something that will interest us. So yeah, here you see like us doing, and this was like a very popular camera, what, like 10 years ago, right?
Okay.
Yes.
And it's not just virtual production. You're also experimenting with all sorts of technology.
All sorts of technology. Like, for instance, the Red camera.
Mhm.
We signed up for the Red camera, and we are part of the first 50 companies to sign up for the Red camera. We ended up with 84 and 85 because, the time we went and signed. But yeah, technology is like running in our veins, and when, we always want to do better, and we're very curious. So
25 years.
time
Right.
goes by really quickly, and I cannot believe that the company is now turning 25. And yeah, I feel, the same energy. NAV is very special for us because that's where pretty much all started, right?
Yes.
Meeting people, being here, and that's why it's such an honor to be here. And let me see. Okay, so we were doing for many years with zero density, and that's how we met Moses more than 10 years ago. We were uh, testing with and doing productions and helping customers with Unreal Engine.
Mhm.
And so we've been with Unreal Engine for many years. And then suddenly we heard about these great productions that were happening, like Mandalorian. And we said, hey, we should have screens in Mexico City. So we researched, we figured out which screens we were going to get,
Yes.
and we decided to bring them and build a lab. And suddenly the pandemic changed everything because then we couldn't send anything. We didn't know what was going to happen. The world was frozen. And we said, what's going to be next? So after thinking a little bit and knowing that the pandemic was going to last for a long time, we decided, well, what we'll do with screens that we have stock in Los Angeles, and we cannot invite people to our home. So during the weekends, during the pandemic, I built little by little the first LED wall that we had.
So you're really working from home, having an LED studio at home, literally, right?
Yeah.
I think we have a video of that, right?
Is the video.
If you play it, you should click on the screen on the side.
Because it should be running. This should be the video.
One more click if you do.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So that was my living room. And then removed everything. And this is like what to do during the pandemic. Well, let's build an LED wall and start experimenting. And of course, we were so happy. We have great friends with Moses, and we got our tracker and we started testing and doing a lot of things. We were able to teach a few classes with NYU.
Okay.
And that was fascinating because very intense. Students were there and they logged in via Zoom, and we were doing this. So for like almost 2 years during the pandemic, we were breathing and testing with virtual production.
It was sort of the best time to experiment, right? And
yeah, and it was so nice to be able to share the little we were learning every day with the students and all the people that we were like pinging, and everybody was trying to find a purpose during the pandemic. So for us, it was this, right?
Stay connected for technology.
Exactly.
That's good.
And so, yeah. So this became our lab.
So you still have it at home?
Yeah, I lost my living room, sadly.
Oh. It's for the best.
So, just to talk a little bit about the technology, which, like I said, I don't want to go very much in depth because it's more about what you want to do with the technology and your creativity and what we can do for customers that want to produce. So, of course, we have Unreal Engine, which is the heart of most of the productions that we do, but also we do a lot of like plates, video plates is also very nice. And we obviously need to have a wall. In our case, like we are very much big fans of Aoto because was one of the first companies that we were introduced to, and they've been very nice to us. And this is on the right. You can see it's the wall in Mexico City.
Okay, that's the one in
It's a 200 square meter wall. And of course, you cannot do anything without decent tracking. And the tracker that we've been using for, like I said, for more than 10 years is Moses.
Thank you.
You can say we're fans, right?
Thank you.
Also, for the light, we are trying to build a stage that is cost effective for the Mexican market.
Okay.
So most very fancy studios in the US have like a ceiling made out of screens. In our case, we figure out that using Auroris, you can automate a lot of the lighting and get very good results. And very few cases, you don't see the ceiling. And if you want to see the ceiling, you can always move your environment in Unreal. So it's very easy. So yeah, camera tracking is important. With Moses, we use the technology that is called Inside Out, as everybody knows, which means that the tracker sits on top of the camera and it connects to markers. It could be stars on the ceiling, or it could be other tricks and tips that you will see here during the show. Moses can do like trackless way of connecting and tracking, which is very interesting. And they have like fantastic, different ways of changing focus and rack focus and extended stage and so many great things that you can do with.
It's great because for us it's all about, of course, innovation to solve all the problems, to get better storytelling with film and broadcast and for studios. But for you, you're the best user as well, because you can test it and tell us what you think about it, and if it was useful or not, or if there's a feature you like. So it's always good to collaborate that way, right?
Exactly. So we're very, very lucky. We've been able to produce a bunch of like the first reality game show that was shot in Mexico with Unreal Engine. And we produced it like exactly a year ago, like it was NAB, and we were like with this production. We've done a lot of like TV commercials, a big show for Amazon, short films for Netflix, and so on. So the more time goes by, the more experience we gain, and we're very happy with the results of the stage in Mexico City. And let me see, I think I have a video. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you more about the stage. So the stage, it can be configured in many ways. In our case, we have like a typical C shape or horseshoe, and it's very nice because when you're inside the volume, you get a lot of reflections. So you really feel inside wherever you are. It can be the moon, it can be the beach, it can be a city, and you are completely inside of it. So I like that shape very much. So this is great because I'm never very good with feet. So for me, it's 6 meters, but it's 20 feet and 59 long. And it's a very good size. Our screen, the pitch is 2.1, 2.3. And it's very nice because the screen is big. So as you know, the closer you are to the screen, the finer the pitch would be required. But in this case, the stage is very big.
So you don't have this issue. And it's so actually strategically as well these days, it feels like having a studio in Mexico City is a really good advantage, right?
Yeah, yeah. Anyone that is interested, I mean, is welcome to come and talk to us at Simplemente, and we're very happy to host any production there.
And we're always well received, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and there will be tacos. So for those who love tacos,
that's the best part as well. Do you have some example as well to show?
Yeah, so I have a video that shows a little bit, some of the productions we've done. This image is very interesting image. We created this for the reality game show for Cinepolis, which is a chain of theaters.
Okay.
And they were opening a theater in India. So this was like a game show for the winners will end up in India.
Okay.
And this is generated in Unreal Engine, but a lot of the backgrounds were also created in AI.
Okay.
So it's a combination.
Okay. I think if you click that will play you part of the reel as well.
So this is like car commercial. These are some of our operators. In the case of the car commercial, they were so happy. This is a music video. Yeah, you can do driving plates, which
I guess you do a lot of that in your studio as well. It seems to be ideal for that. Right?
For process is very nice, and we have different techniques that we use, and everybody has been so impressed. This is when we build it. That took a little bit longer than the other production. And these are some of the directors, very young directors that have been working with us, and they are so happy with the results because they are able to produce. This is for a series of government ads to fight against the drug use. Okay. So it's very popular, and it was very easy to shoot it in like maybe a day and a half, and like 5 acts were done. Also, the Mexican presidential debate, yeah, I think you're gonna see it a little bit later, was shot in there.
Okay, it's interesting because
Yeah.
it proves that you can have completely different type of production in the same location from
Yeah,
film to.
that's
Oh,
the
there you go.
president of Mexico in the middle.
Oh wow.
It was like, but that was really stressful. I think it's a production that we had like the most stress ever because
imagine.
it could not go wrong. We're more used to cinema in which like if something goes wrong, it's like take two, take three. But in this case, like it had to be perfect. And live TV is very stressful, especially when you have one of these three will be the future president. You don't want to go wrong, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's great, and it proves that you can use a VP stage for so many things,
Yeah.
and then in terms of going from one production to another, how many production would you do? Like, if, for example, in the same, let's say the same week, sometimes would you have different productions that are completely different, or you try to do maybe 1 week for each project? Or
So in an ideal world, we would love to like be able to say, and this week this happens, and this week this other thing happens. But the reality is that sometimes, because an actor can only be on one day, sometimes the team has to do like entire full weeks, and sometimes we have a week in which nothing happens. Right now we have a movie that is being shot as we speak. So yeah, it gets very busy. And we're also very happy because we have a partnership with the Churubusco Studios, which are like a little bit like the Paramount Studios. They're very old. They belong to the Mexican government, and they have a lot of history, a lot of movies like. Total Recall, or all the classic movies from Mexico. Most of them were shot there in the 1950s, 60s, and so on. And it's just great to be there. And I don't think there is a stage that size in Mexico that you can have with all the quality and the size for virtual production.
and a lot coming in Mexico City. I was there actually. Was it last year, the end of last year, and it's great
Yeah.
to see that there's a lot of content coming as well from there, and to see that locally there's so much story to tell, right? So being able to tell it there with the technology is amazing. Like you said, also what I thought was interesting, you just mentioned sometimes with schedule you don't know when the next actor will be available. That's also the beauty of it, because you don't need to kind of book the location, right? You can redo it in studio. And
Yeah, no, we had I mean, sadly we cannot show a lot because we have to get the go ahead from like customers, and some shows are not out there yet. But there was this project that we worked on that I cannot say exactly what it was, but they needed to shoot a sunset.
okay.
And it was like something that happened during a sunset, and it was wonderful because we had an eternal sunset all day long, and that is luxury. So that was like a video plate, and it was very nice. Yeah.
And I think there was one more.
Oh, there was one more.
There was some part of the video. I think.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what's
Okay.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is also part of the game show.
Ah yes. Okay.
Yeah, and you know it takes time because it's slower. But as you can see, this was incredible because we were able to shoot, I think it says here, like 21 different locations in 10 days. So, and there
Great.
you can see the proportion of the stage. And I don't know if like,
Yes.
I don't know if you have any questions.
I have one. So what's coming for you? What do you? I mean, of course, you cannot tell us. It's quite. I'm sure there's a lot of confidential project, but how do you see the future of the studio and in this year and the coming years? Do you see like a big boom in production in Mexico? And I'm sure there will be. Everyone will be really happy to leverage the studio, right?
Well, I hope there will be more production and something. I mean, I know there's going to be like a new era that is starting in, you know, AI coming in so quick and being so present in our everyday lives. That's going to be very interesting, and we just need to like take it as it comes in and adapt and use it. I mean, we just used AI a year ago, like a little test, and in a production we did 2 months ago. The opening scene was made in AI, and it worked wonderfully. So we just are adapting, and I just think that one of the biggest beauties of virtual production is that when you're in the stage, you're wherever you're supposed to be, and that makes all the difference in the world. Because when we were doing green screen and Unreal, it was cool because I mean there was the engine could render it in real time, which was like breakthrough, but that was 10 years ago. And now the fact that you can live in the moment, it's fantastic. We've seen it for the not only for the actors and the directors, but the entire crew is so happy, from like the lady that is cleaning and mopping the floor to the people that are at catering. Everyone gets super excited when they can see what it's happening. And this piece that we did of the 1985 earthquake,
Mhm.
that was wonderful.
Yes.
Because it took us back in time, and it was great.
And like you said, it's really interesting because most of the very technical presentation talks we think about, more on the directors and director of photography, how they will use the technology. But like you say, it's impacting the whole crew, everyone who is working in the studio. And I think it makes a difference on the mood, but also on the mood of the production. Everyone has a different mindset, I guess, that you will then feel in the production, right?
Yeah, there is nothing that gives me more joy than the smile of our customers when they leave the stage, and they leave, most of them, so happy, because it's a magic carpet that brings joy. That's
Yes.
the way I see it.
Good way to end our presentation. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much, Monica, for coming.
Thank you,
Looking
Florian.
forward to collaborate more on better, even bigger projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Moses.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.